So right now we're going to discuss about the first trumpet. This is mentioned in Revelation chapter 8 verse number 7. So we need to understand what are trumpets. Trumpets are God's judgment on the Roman Empire. This is the first beast. The seals are God's judgment on the dragon. And the trumpets are God's judgment on the first beast. And the vials are God's judgment on the Roman Catholic Church, which is the second beast. So it has got three forms. The Roman Empire has three forms. First form is the dragon form. Second form is the Catholic Roman Empire. And the third form is the Roman Catholic Church. So the first seven judgments, the seal judgments, are on the pagan Rome, which means it's the dragon. And the second seven judgments, the trumpet judgments, it comes on the first beast, which is the Catholic Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. There are two different Roman empires. Remember that the great image in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, it had two legs of iron, two legs, each leg standing for one Roman Empire. Eastern Roman Empire is one leg, Western Roman Empire is another leg. And the vial judgments, this comes on the second beast, which is the papacy or the Roman Catholic Church. Let's read Ecclesiastes 1:9.
That which has been is what will be, that which is done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun.
There is nothing new under the sun. The same pattern repeats again and again. Bible has a lot of patterns. So we earlier discussed about Ezekiel 14:21, the four severe judgments of God, the sword, the pestilence, and the wild beast. God talks about four different judgments in Ezekiel. The same thing happens in Revelation as well. There is nothing new under the sun. Same things will again and again. It will happen for obedient people. Same things will happen for disobedient people. The same judgments will come upon them. So what is the meaning of a trumpet? Trumpet is a loud warning. It's a loud warning. It talks about a warning before a war. And we had seen the reference verses already. Ezekiel chapter 33 verses 3 to 6. And who is being judged here? The Catholic Roman Empire is the second form of the Roman Empire. And this Catholic Roman Empire is being judged. Yesterday we discussed in detail about the Catholic Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. And let's look at the first four trumpets. The trumpets are divided into seven trumpets, and the first four trumpets, these are judgments on the Western Roman Empire. Let me repeat. The first four trumpets are judgments on the Western Roman Empire, and the fifth and the sixth, these are judgments on the Eastern Roman Empire. The first four on the Western, and the 5 and 6, it's on the Eastern. What about the seventh? The seventh one is divided into seven bowls. The seventh trumpet is divided into seven bowls. Let's read this verse, Revelation 8:7.
The first angel sounded, and hell and fire followed, mingled with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And a third of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burned up.
How do we interpret this literally? What is a hail? Should I expect literal hail? We need to understand the symbolic meaning of what a hail is. We need to understand the symbolic meaning of what a tree is. Do you think Jesus is going to gain anything by burning the trees? Jesus is not going to gain one bit by burning the trees. So there is a symbolic spiritual meaning for the trees. And all the green grass was burnt up. There is a meaning for green grass. So let's understand from verses itself. Scripture should be used to unlock Scripture. We can't be using the news articles. We can't be using the imaginations of certain preachers for unlocking the Scripture. We have to use Scripture to unlock Scripture. Let's look at the meaning of hail. Hail means hostile invasion. Hail means it's a hostile invasion by an enemy country. Let's read these verses. Isaiah chapter 28, verses 2 and 17. Let's read these two verses.
Behold, the Lord has a mighty and strong one, like a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, like a flood of mighty waters overflowing, who will bring them down to the earth with his hand. Also, I will make justice the measuring line, and righteousness the plummet. The hail will sweep the refuge of lies, and the waters will overflow the hiding place.
Look at what God says in Isaiah 28:2. The Lord has a mighty and strong one, like the tempest of a hail. So hail is nothing but an enemy king or his forces and soldiers. He's talking about an enemy king to Isaiah. And the hail, this enemy king, he will sweep away the refuge of lies. What is a lie? It is idol. So when Israel was doing idol worship, the idol worship was swept away by whom? It was swept away by King Nebuchadnezzar. He burnt the Jerusalem temple. He killed a lot of people, and he also took away the idols. Let's read Isaiah 30, verses 30 and 31.
The Lord will cause his glorious voice to be heard, and show the descent of his arm, with the indignation of his anger, and the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering, tempest, and hailstones. For through the voice of the Lord Assyria will be beaten down, as he strikes with the rod.
Here God is talking about the destruction of Assyria. By whom? By the hailstones, not the literal hailstones, by the enemy kings. Assyria was beaten by whom? Assyria was beaten down by Babylon. Egypt was the dragon kingdom first, second dragon kingdom is Assyria, and the third dragon kingdom is Babylon, and so on and so forth. And the final dragon kingdom is Rome and Europe. What about the trees? Let's look at the verse again. A third of the trees were burnt up. Jesus is not going to gain anything by burning the trees. Let's look at the spiritual meaning of what a tree is. Tree, it means a king or a prince. Let's read Daniel chapter 4, verses 20, 21 and 22.
The tree that you saw, which grew and became strong, whose height reached to the heavens and which could be seen by all the earth, whose leaves were lovely and its fruit abundant, in which was food for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and in whose branches the birds of the heaven had their home. It is you, O King, who have grown and become strong, for your greatness has grown and reaches to the heavens, and your dominion to the end of the earth.
If you look at Daniel 4:20, Daniel is trying to interpret a dream of King Nebuchadnezzar. This is the second dream. The tree that you saw, it is you, O King. The tree is compared with King Nebuchadnezzar. So when it says, the verse says that a third of the trees were burnt up, it means that a third of the kings in the Roman Empire, they were killed. Third of the kings in the Roman Empire, they were killed. We still have few more verses. Psalms 37:35. Let's read this.
I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a native green tree.
I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a native green tree. Who is compared to the green tree? It is a wicked person in a great power. So this is comparing the tree to the prince, a powerful person, or a king. So this is the spiritual meaning of a king. What about the grass? The grasses were all burnt up, isn't it? Let's look at what grass is. Grass refers to the common people. Let's read 1 Peter 1:24.
Because all flesh is as grass, and all the glory of man as the flower of the grass.
So here Peter says all flesh, all common people is as grass. And we have other verses to back it up. Isaiah 47, let's read this one.
The grass withers, the flower fades, because the breath of the Lord blows upon it. Surely the people are grass.
Surely the people are grass. Quite straightforward, isn't it? Verses are straightforward. Let's read Isaiah 51:12.
I, even I, am he who comforts you. Who are you that you should be afraid of a man who will die, and of the son of a man who will be made like grass?
So here it says, Son of man who will be made like grass. Son of man, the common people are made like grass. Let's also read Psalms 103:15.
As for man, his days are like grass. As a flower of the field, so he flourishes.
As for man, his days are like grass. How many verses? We have 4 verses to prove this. 2 witnesses is more than enough. We have 4 witnesses. 1 Peter 1:24, Isaiah 47, Isaiah 51:12, Psalms 103:15. And common people are referred to as grass. So it's the people who are called as grass. What about the interpretation of the first trumpet? What about the hail? Hail is an enemy's army. Enemy king, enemy's army. Hail and fire mingled with blood. It means hostile invasion by enemy leading to bloodshed. Third part of the trees burnt up. 1/3 of princes and kings in the Roman Empire were killed. Green grass burnt up. The common people were dead. Let's look at the fulfillment now. First trumpet, it talks about the sack of Rome by an enemy king called as Alaric. This happened in 410 AD. This is a judgment on the Christian Roman Empire, not anymore the pagan Roman Empire. Pagan Rome was defeated in 312, and in between 312 and 410, almost 100 years, the entire Roman Empire degenerated. They backslid, and they were not accepting the true gospel. They were worshipping Jesus as an idol. It became a Christian empire, but it was a Catholic empire. They were worshipping Jesus using an idol. They were also worshipping Mary, angels, and other saints, so on and so forth. And God sent a judgment, a major judgment. The reason why I'm calling it as a major judgment is in about 800 years, Rome was not captured. In about 800 years, from 400 BC to 400 AD, Rome was not captured by any enemy king. This is the first time in 800 years Rome was not only captured, the people were butchered, the people were sacked by this enemy king, and he was from a Gothic origin. So like we say in India, Mauryan kingdom, Chera, Chola, Pandya, a lot of tribes in India. There are a lot of Gothic tribes in Europe, and he is from one of the Gothic tribes, and he is from one of the branches called as the Visigoths. Visigoth is one of the Germanic tribes, Gothic tribes, and this happened in 410. What about the sack of Rome? Did it really happen? Yes. If you look at the sack of Rome, this happened in 410 AD, and this was a Visigothic king who did the sack, and he plundered Rome for about few days, at least 3 days, I guess. 3 days he plundered the entire Roman people. Men were killed, and many of the women were killed, and beautiful women were taken as captives. Children were butchered, infants were butchered, and gold, silver, everything lost. All the goods were lost in Rome. And why is Jesus permitting this? That's the key question. Because the white horse, gospel, they rejected the white horse. They rejected the gospel. That's why Jesus is sending judgment after judgment. And this is the first judgment on the Western Roman Empire. Remember the fourth beast. The fourth beast is the Roman beast. And compare it with the dream of Nebuchadnezzar in the great image. There are 2 legs of iron. 2 legs of iron. One is the Western Roman Empire, second one is the Eastern Roman Empire. And during this judgment, as many as 8 lakh people in those days. Look at 8 lakh people, it's a very large number. And they were living in Rome. Most of them were butchered by this king Alaric. There is a big history. Whenever you have time, you can go through the sack of Rome, but this is not the only sack. This is the first sack in 800 years. You're going to see sack after sack until the fall of the Western Roman Empire. They had only 2 choices. They have to either die or they have to accept Jesus Christ. They have to either die or accept Jesus Christ. They rejected Jesus Christ and they are dying because of the judgments. So this is the fulfillment of the first trumpet, the sack of Rome by King Alaric in 410 AD. We are seeing a sequential fulfillment, isn't it? A gradual sequential fulfillment of all the prophecies over the last 2000 years. Right now we are in 410 AD. As and when we move on to the other trumpets and the vials will actually be coming to 2019. And let's see how it is being fulfilled. Now let's move on to the next trumpet.